My Xterra is pretty noisy, but recently it started making more noise than usual. The sound was kind of rumbly, it sounded like wind noise, except it happened even when the truck was moving slowly. Oftentimes this can be a sign that your wheel bearings are going bad. Here's an easy way to test for a bad wheel bearing. Drag the truck up and wiggle from side to side and from top to bottom. Here you can see that from side to side there's a little bit of play, but if I push on the top there's a whole lot more movement and you can actually hear it clunking back and forth. Replacing the bearings on these trucks is actually a pretty easy process and a whole lot less messy than it can be on some other vehicles. The bearing is actually not a serviceable item. You have to replace the entire hub assembly. To get started, remove the wheel. This is the ABS sensor cable. Separate the connector at the top of the coil bucket and separate the cable from the clips on the knuckle. Next, remove the two bolts holding the brake caliper to the caliper bracket. Use a bungee or caliper hanger to secure the caliper safely out of the way and to keep tension off the brake line. Remove the brake pads. Remove the two bolts that hold the caliper bracket to the knuckle. They are on very tight. Slide the caliper bracket off the knuckle. I'm not a huge fan of these, but I am running wheel spacers on this truck because I'm still using the factory wheels and I like the wider stance. If you don't have wheel spacers, you can skip this part. Slide the brake rotor off the hub. Remove the cotter pin securing the axle nut. And remove the axle nut. There are 4 bolts that hold the hub assembly to the knuckle, 2 on top and 2 on bottom. Turn the wheels to get better access to the bolts. For this next part, I would actually recommend using a slide hammer, but the attachments that I had in the garage didn't fit the bolt pattern on my truck, and I was too lazy to go to the store. So instead, I just used a small sledgehammer to tap the back of the old hub assembly. Not sure what all this red stuff is, but the hub looks pretty toast. Here's the fresh new hub assembly from MOOG. Quick shout out to Super Clean for sending me some of their products to try. I used their foaming spray to clean up the axle and mating surfaces of the knuckle before installing the new hub assembly. Position the hub assembly onto the knuckle so that the mounting holes match up with the holes in the knuckle and connect the ABS cable. After I did that, I realized I forgot to reinstall the dust shield. so I had to take it apart and start over. When reinstalling the bolts onto the back of the knuckle, take your time. I tightened them down in a crisscross pattern to make sure it was tightened evenly. Here's a closer look at the front of the hub assembly. You can see that the bolt threads in from the back, and that will help you keep an eye on whether or not they are evenly tightened. Once everything is flush, torque the 4 bolts to 44 foot-pounds. Hand thread the axle lock nut back onto the axle. But don't bother trying to tighten it just yet, it will spin. Reinstall the brake rotor. Reinstall the brake caliper bracket. Reinstall the brake pads. And torque the brake caliper bracket bolts to 136 foot-pounds. Reinstall the brake caliper and torque to 32 foot-pounds. With the helper pressing on the brake pedal, tighten the axle nut to 101 foot-pounds and install a new cotter pin. If you have wheel spacers, you'll need your helper to hold the brake pedal down to tighten those nuts also. And that's pretty much it. No more wobble. I hope you guys found this video helpful. If you have any questions, post them in the comments below. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.